Imagine going into a public female's washroom as a woman only to find a man in there. How do you respond? Do you just brush it off, say hi, act like nothing happened, or do you like say, hello, what are you doing in here? I can clearly see that you're a guy, like you're a dude. We all know how guys or dudes look like. So this is a public female's washroom or a public female's locker room. I don't think you're supposed to be here. What if he removes his clothes? Like, how do you respond? How do you react? Do you run away, call the police, scream, and ask for help? Like, how do you respond as a woman is what I'm trying to find out. My name is Oliver and this is Hard Questions Podcast. Well, this is a true story and exactly what happened to Tish in LA. She was at the gym, in the locker room, only to find a guy in there. A man by the name of Alexis Black, formerly Kyle Grant Freeman. So, this guy defends himself by saying he identifies as a woman and that he's in the process of I guess, changing his gender, right? And that he has every right to be there. And as you can imagine, Tish goes crazy. And of course, she has a following because she's a Grammy. She was once nominated for the Grammy. So she goes crazy and this blows up all over social media and people have their own opinions.
Go gym! Men! Grown men with big dicks in the women's locker room! And that's why I'm getting kicked out and I want to make sure the girls know!
And then you have this man by the name of Joey Swole. If you know who Joey Swole is, he's like the Superman for the gym. Like if you're having a hard time in the gym, he comes out to defend you. Like he wants everyone to have a good time in the gym. So Joey Swole comes out in defense of Tish, okay? And I'm going to read out what Joey Swole says, okay? So Joey Swole says, "Good for you, standing up for yourself and women all over that feel the same, okay? I will DM you and happily help you find a new gym and pay for it," which he did. "I know a lot of great gyms here in LA and SoCal that would love to help you." Wow, isn't that beautiful? Like, you would think this is a beautiful response, right? And he's doing this out of concern for women and he wants women to feel protected in the gym. He wants women to feel safe. He wants kids to feel safe in the gym or in private places that are meant for women. And then a woman responds, and that's the irony. That's the irony. So Rachel Gilmore responds by saying, "Least surprising news ever. Joey Swole, transphobe confirmed." So according to her, Joey Swole is a transphobe, right? Or is transphobic because he is not in support, of men, biological men, going in females' locker rooms, which are private places, right? So according to her, you know, he's transphobic. Okay, so Joey Swole responds by saying, "Not wanting a man." I want you to mark that, "Not wanting a man in the women's locker room so that women feel safe is not transphobic." So he just wants women to feel safe, right? Okay. "My defending a woman that was verbally assaulted by a man convicted of domestic violence, breaking his ex-wife's jaw." Note that this guy had an ex-wife, like he was literally married before and he beat up his wife, okay? And I just read that on the news a few minutes ago. He said, "It's not transphobic. If it was you or your daughter," I want you to mark that, "if it was you or your daughter." So I want you to realize the people that are being affected here. It's not just you who's 20 years old or you that is like in your 30s. No, I want you to think about teenage girls who use these same locker rooms. Imagine as a parent, like how do you, or would you like it if your child, your daughter, 16 years of age, goes into a locker room only to find a guy in there? Like, imagine a guy in his 40s, fully naked in there. Like, would you want that as a parent? I want you to think about that. And, you know, that will help you think about how deep this whole issue is, okay? And how much of a problem this is. So I'll take that again. If it was you or your daughter, you will feel the same. Enough is enough. And you know what? I 100% agree with Joey Swole. I say enough is enough. And people like Rachel are supposed to spend a long time in prison, at least 15 years in my humble opinion. I think you're supposed to spend at least 15 years in jail, because such people are a danger to society. You're a danger to society, because how in the world do you support men being in females' washrooms, men being in females' locker rooms? I think it's a danger for women. It's not only a danger for older women, it's a danger for kids, right? So the same people that will come out to advocate for children's rights are the same people in support of such behaviors. And I don't think governments are doing a lot to help or to protect women, because the same government who will come out with different laws in support of women to protect women are the same government who are making laws that literally support this. Because I want to show you what this guy said. Like, listen to what Alexis Black said. He's like, I began using hormones this year in February, name change, and it says female on my ID. Okay, I want you to think about what he's using to defend himself. It says female on my ID and hormones. I'm registered as a female with the gym. Now, mind you, this is a biological man. He's registered as a female in the gym. His ID says female. So, as far as he's concerned, he's a female, right? And of course, we live in a free world. You can literally identify as whatever. Right? No, think about pedophile. Imagine a pedophile going into a bathroom, right? Imagine a pedophile like literally identifying as a female, going into a washroom that is going to be used by not just adults, but kids. I want you to think about that for a second. This is the problem we're causing, and I think the government is just making things worse. And I live in Canada, so you can imagine the Liberal government in Canada, they are literally in support of this, right? They're literally in support of this. The only government I've heard of and I've seen publicly come against women women's gyms being infiltrated by men, or men in women's sports, is Donald Trump. Like, he literally campaigned on this. Donald Trump said men are not supposed to be in women's washrooms, or men are not supposed to be in women's gyms or participate in women's sports. So I think this is a very serious issue that needs very serious attention. If you claim to care for women or care for children, I think you should understand what I'm talking about and just the dangers, right? Imagine your kids going into a washroom, public washroom, only to find a guy in there who identifies as a female. Like, that's something to think about, and like, we're living in a world where, of course, because it's a free world, you can literally identify as whatever. If someone wants to go in a female's washroom, some weirdo, all they literally have to do is just claim to identify as female. Yeah. So I woke up last night and I think I'm a woman. Yeah. Well, I know I was born a man and I have male genitalia, but since last night, I identify as a female, and these are my rights moving forward. This is what is happening to the world. And a piece of paper, because she said her ID, says female. Because your ID says female, doesn't mean you are a female. And because you are registered as a female with the gym, which is an issue on its own, that doesn't make you a female. There's a difference between a biological man and a biological woman. There's a huge difference. And if we're going to keep women safe, we have to speak out against such behaviors. And hence, I'm personally speaking up against it. I think it's wrong. And governments are supposed to do better. Men are not supposed to be in females' washrooms. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you feel. You know why? Because facts have no feelings. This is a fact. And anyone who has common sense will be in support of what I'm saying. Thank you.